10 Stoics to Transform Your Life, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Resilience, by the Protocols of Astrian. Imagine a quiet space within you that no outside chaos can touch. This isn't a fantasy. It's the promise of Stoicism, a philosophy forged not in comfort but in the fires of real human struggle. Picture a slave gaining unbreakable freedom of mind, a ruling emperor battling his own temper, and a wealthy advisor confronting his deepest fears. Their ancient wisdom has survived because it works, offering tools for resilience that are desperately needed today. We face a world of constant noise, pressure, and change that can leave us feeling reactive and adrift. This book is your invitation to build an inner citadel of calm and strength, to move from being at the mercy of events to navigating them with purpose. You are about to meet 10 extraordinary guides who will serve as your personal mentors. Their lessons are not dusty theories, but a practical operating system for a better life. Get ready to transform your perspective and discover the unshakable version of yourself that already exists, waiting to be unlocked. This journey is not about becoming emotionless or withdrawing from the world. True Stoicism is about engaging with life more fully, with clear vision and steady courage. It teaches us how to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot, freeing up immense energy we waste on worry and frustration. Each chapter introduces you to a Stoic teacher, unpacks their most powerful idea, and gives you a direct challenge to apply it. You will learn from a philosopher who started it all after losing everything, and from a modern prisoner of war who survived hell using these same principles. The goal is simple: to provide you with timeless wisdom repackaged for your modern challenges. By the end, you will have a council of 10 mentors in your corner, a toolkit for life's difficulties, and a renewed sense of agency. Let's begin the work of building a life not just of success, but of lasting peace and resilient character. Chapter 1. Zeno of Citium, the spark that started it all. Picture a wealthy merchant losing everything in a shipwreck, washed ashore in a strange city with nothing but the clothes on his back. This was Zeno's shocking beginning, a moment of total ruin that became the birthplace of Stoicism. Instead of despair, he walked into a bookstore, discovered philosophy, and decided to rebuild his life from the ground up with a new purpose. His story teaches us that our lowest points can be the foundation for our greatest strength, if we choose to see the opportunity within the disaster. Zeno gathered students on the Painted Porch, or Stoa, in Athens, and began teaching a radical way of living in agreement with nature. He focused on the idea that while we cannot control the events that happen to us, we hold absolute power over our judgments and reactions to them. This simple shift in perspective is the cornerstone of all Stoic practice and the first step toward true freedom. Imagine the liberation of focusing your effort only where it truly counts and letting go of the rest with a calm mind. Zeno's core gift to us is the profound yet simple tool called the dichotomy of control. Think of your life as containing two distinct circles: a small inner circle of things you fully control and a vast outer circle of things you do not. Your thoughts, your values, your actions, and your efforts belong firmly within your inner circle of control. Everything else, the weather, traffic, other people's opinions, past events, and future outcomes, resides in the outer circle, beyond your command. Most of our daily stress and anxiety comes from exhausting ourselves by trying to manage the uncontrollable outer circle. We rage at the traffic jam, we fret over a comment, and we worry about events that may never happen. Zeno's philosophy invites you to stop this futile struggle and redirect your precious energy inward. Your power lies solely in your ability to choose your response with wisdom and virtue, no matter the external circumstance. This practice is about training your focus like a muscle, learning to instantly recognize where your agency truly lies in any situation. When a problem arises, your first question becomes, is this within my control? If the answer is no, your task is to practice acceptance and release, saving your mental strength. If the answer is yes, your task is to take purposeful action without complaint or delay. This is not passive resignation. It is the strategic allocation of your life force. For example, you cannot control a demanding boss, but you can control your preparation, your professionalism, and your decision to seek a new job. You cannot control a global pandemic, but you can control your hygiene, your adaptability, and your kindness to others. By consistently applying this filter, you build immense resilience. You become like a sailor who cannot control the wind, but who can always adjust the sails. Let's make this transformation practical and immediate with your first challenge. For 1 week, carry a small notebook or use your phone's notes app. Draw 2 columns, my control and not my control. Throughout your day, when you feel a spike of stress, irritation, or worry, pause and write the trigger in the appropriate column. Is your frustration about a delayed train in your control? No, it goes on the right. Is your choice to use that time to read or listen to a podcast in your control? Yes, it goes on the left. The simple act of writing it down forces you to apply Zeno's filter. You will likely be shocked at how much mental energy you spend on the right-hand column. The goal is not to be perfect, but to become aware. This awareness is the spark of your transformation. By the end of the week, you will start to feel a subtle but powerful sense of relief and empowerment. You are learning to identify and claim your true territory of power. Think of this chapter as laying the foundation for your inner citadel. Every other Stoic lesson builds upon this fundamental understanding of what is yours to manage and what is not. Zeno's philosophy began with literal ruin and built an enduring school of thought that has guided millions. Your own transformations can start from places of stress or struggle, using that pressure to forge stronger character. This is not about achieving a state of constant calm, but about recovering your balance more quickly each time life pushes you. You are learning to be the unshakable center of your own storm. Carry Zeno's question with you. Is this mine to solve? Let it be your compass. Now, with this foundation set, we turn to the man who proved that philosophy is not about brilliant words, but about the steady, daily work of living them. Chapter 2. Cleans the power of steady effort. Imagine studying to become the next leader of the most famous philosophy school in the world, while spending your nights hauling water to survive. This was the life of Cleanthes, Zeno's successor, who was famously slow but incredibly strong. While other students dazzled with quick debates, Cleanthes was the quiet water carrier, embodying the principle that true strength is built through relentless, humble effort. His critics mocked him, calling him dull, but he understood something they missed. Philosophy is a practice, not a performance. He showed up day after night, studying by lamplight after manual labor, proving that resilience is not a single grand gesture but 1,000 small ones. His life shouts a powerful question at our modern desire for quick fixes. What if the secret to greatness is simply the refusal to quit? Cleanthes teaches us that the path to an unshakable character is paved with the bricks of daily discipline, not the fireworks of fleeting inspiration. He is the mentor for when the initial motivation fades and the real work begins. Cleanthes' master idea is that virtue and resilience are not innate talents, but muscles developed through consistent training. Just as he strengthened his body by carrying water, we strengthen our minds by carrying our chosen principles into action every single day. This training happens in the mundane moments, choosing patience in a long line, doing the right thing when no one is watching, or sticking to a plan when you feel tired. It's the mental push-up you do when you'd rather complain, the extra moment of reflection before sending an angry text. Cleanthes believed living in agreement with nature meant accepting our duty to improve ourselves through steady effort, no matter our starting point. His philosophy removes the pressure of being instantly wise or perfectly strong. Instead, it offers the peaceful confidence of knowing you are on the path, growing stronger simply by showing up for the practice. Your character is your most important project, and it is built hour by hour, choice by choice. This chapter's transformation is about installing one non-negotiable Stoic habit into your daily routine. We are not building a complex regimen you will abandon in a week. We are building one single pillar of discipline. The habit itself is less important than the unwavering commitment to it. It could be a 5-minute morning reflection, a daily review of what you controlled, or a moment of mindful breathing before each meal. The key is that it is small, specific, and sacred. Clean's power came from his reliability, from the compound interest of countless nights of study. Your power will come from the compound interest of this one small, repeated action. This habit becomes your anchor, a daily reminder that you are the kind of person who keeps promises to yourself. It proves to you, more than any grand achievement could, that you have the discipline to change. When you protect this habit, you are not just doing a task, you are forging your identity as a person of resilience. To begin, choose your habit right now. Make it so easy you cannot say no. Perhaps it is writing one sentence in a journal each night. Today, I did my best with, or tomorrow I will focus on. Perhaps it is taking 3 deep breaths when you first sit at your desk. Write it down and commit to it for the next 30 days. Place a reminder where you will see it. The magic is not in the action itself, but in the victory of doing it when you don't feel like it. That is the moment you build the clean's muscle. On day 15, when you're tired and want to skip it, that is your crucial training ground. Doing it anyway is a far greater lesson than any book can teach. This practice teaches you that motivation follows action, not the other way around. You are building the engine of self-trust that will power every other change you want to make. You are becoming your own reliable water carrier, doing the essential work that nourishes your growth. Think of Clean's as the steady heartbeat of your Stoic practice. While other teachers provide flashier insights, he provides the durable rhythm that makes transformation possible. His legacy is a testament to the fact that the world often underestimates the quiet, consistent worker, but history is ultimately shaped by them. In your own life, the grand transformations you seek, greater peace, courage, wisdom, are the direct results of these small, daily deposits into your character bank. Do not despise the humble beginning or the slow progress. Celebrate the showing up. Your nightly water carrying might be a daily walk, a moment of gratitude, or a pause before reacting. This chapter is your permission to value consistency over brilliance and effort over innate talent. With this steadfast discipline now taking root, we are ready to learn from a man who operated in the glittering, dangerous center of power and wealth. Chapter 3. Seneca, the Billionaire's Guide to a Rich Inner Life. Picture one of the richest and most powerful men in the Roman Empire, a trusted advisor to the Emperor Nero, sitting down each evening to write heartfelt letters to a friend about anxiety, anger, and the fear of death. This was Seneca, a man who lived a life of extreme external fortune while doing constant battle with internal turmoil. He shows us that peace of mind is not a product of our circumstances. You can be utterly lost while living in a palace. Seneca's writings are like having a brutally honest, deeply compassionate therapist from antiquity, speaking directly to our modern souls about time management, stress, and dealing with difficult people. He teaches that the greatest wealth is a mind free from fear and desire, and that true poverty is a soul forever chasing the next external thing. His life ended tragically, ordered to suicide by the very emperor he advised, a final test where his philosophy met its ultimate exam. Through his words and his end, Seneca offers us a masterclass in preparing our minds for both the chaos of daily life and the certainty of our final moment. Seneca's core gift is a powerful pair of mental exercises designed to disarm our 2 biggest thieves of peace, anxiety about the future and reactivity in the present. The first is the premeditation of adversity, where you vividly imagine things going wrong, losing a job, a loved one falling ill, facing criticism. This is not morbid pessimism. It is a psychological vaccine. By rehearsing challenges in your safe imagination, you rob future disasters of their element of surprise and shock. When a difficulty then occurs, you can say, "Ah, this is what I prepared for," and respond with calm resourcefulness instead of blind panic. The second exercise is the evening audit, a quiet review of your day. You ask yourself gently, where did I let externals disturb my peace? When did I act against my values? What could I do better tomorrow? This practice builds self-awareness without self-hatred, turning each day into a classroom for your character. Together, these tools help you tame the wild animal of your mind. Let's bring Seneca's wisdom off the page and into your living room with a direct challenge. Tonight before bed, you will conduct your first evening audit. Find a quiet space, take a notebook, and ask yourself 3 simple questions. First, what happened today that was outside my control and how did I meet it? This isn't about judging, just observing. Second, when did I act with patience, courage, or kindness? When did I fall short? Acknowledge both with honesty. Third, what is one small thing I will try to do better tomorrow? Keep the answer specific and kind. This 5-minute practice is your anchor in time's river. It stops days from blurring into a stressful haze and turns them into a conscious narrative of growth. For the premeditation, choose one common worry for tomorrow, a difficult meeting, a stressful drive. Spend 2 minutes vividly imagining it going poorly, and then visualize yourself responding with calm and principle. Feel the fear beforehand to nullify its power in the moment. This practice might feel strange at first, like talking to yourself, but you are building the most important relationship you have, the one with your own mind. Seneca believed we are terrified of the future because we haven't befriended it through preparation. We are haunted by the past because we haven't made peace with it through honest review. These exercises are how you become the author of your inner story, not just a character buffeted by events. You will start to notice patterns. Perhaps you are most reactive when tired or most anxious about specific triggers. This knowledge is power. With it, you can preemptively manage your state or forgive yourself more easily when you slip. The goal is not a perfect, serene scorecard, but a progressively more mindful and resilient you. You are learning to be both the compassionate coach and the disciplined athlete of your own soul. Seneca stands as brilliant proof that the inner work is the only work that ultimately matters. His external world was one of immense power, luxury, and danger, yet his letters constantly return to the sanctuary we must build within. He teaches us to use our imagination not as a tool for worry, but as a tool for vaccination and preparation. He teaches us to use reflection not for regret, but for gentle course correction. In a world that pushes us to constantly look forward to the next achievement, he asks us to look backward each night with a forgiving eye, and to look forward each morning with a prepared heart. With these tools, you begin to cultivate a richness of soul that no market crash can devalue and no critic can insult. Now, having worked on the inner landscape of thought and reflection, we turn to a teacher who believed philosophy was utterly worthless if it didn't get your hands dirty in the real world. Chapter 4, Musonius Rufus, the philosopher in the mud. Imagine a respected teacher who believed you couldn't learn courage from a comfortable chair or resilience from a lecture hall. Musonius Rufus, known as the Socrates of Rome, was that teacher. He was exiled, imprisoned, and ridiculed, yet he insisted that philosophy was not about clever arguments but about tangible action, how you eat, how you work, how you face hardship. He taught that a true philosopher's life should be their clearest, most convincing lesson. While others debated abstract ideas, Musonius taught farming to his students, claiming that digging in the earth was a lesson in self-reliance and patience. He pushed people into voluntary discomfort, not as punishment, but as training to remove the fear of misfortune. His philosophy is a wake-up call for our age of convenience. What if the path to strength requires willingly choosing the harder, simpler, more authentic road? He is the mentor who shouts, "Stop reading about virtue and go live it." Musonius's transformative idea is the practice of voluntary discomfort. This is the conscious, temporary choice to go without a comfort or to embrace a small hardship to inoculate yourself against future fear. It's taking a cold shower, skipping a meal, walking instead of driving, or sleeping on a firmer mattress. The goal is not self-punishment but immunization. By willingly experiencing minor lacks, you prove to yourself that you can handle them, which shrinks your fears of what might happen. This practice shatters the illusion that your happiness depends on perfect external conditions. It builds the profound confidence that comes from knowing, in your bones, that you are tougher than your circumstances. Musonius taught that luxury makes us soft and anxious, always fearing its loss, while practiced simplicity makes us resilient and free. Your ability to choose discomfort becomes a superpower, a secret weapon against life's inevitable annoyances and setbacks. Your challenge from Musonius is to schedule and complete one deliberate act of voluntary discomfort each week for the next month. Choose something safe but meaningful that pushes you gently outside your routine comfort zone. It could be dietary, foregoing sugar or caffeine for a day. It could be physical, taking a 5-minute cold shower or walking in the rain. It could be digital, a 24-hour social media fast. It could be social, striking up a conversation with a stranger. The key is to do it with intention, not resentment. Before you begin, state your purpose. I am doing this to prove to myself that comfort does not control me. During the act, observe your mind's resistance, the complaints, the rationalizations to quit and choose to continue anyway. Afterwards, reflect on the feeling. You will likely find a surge of quiet pride and a subtle expansion of your comfort zone. This small victory teaches you that you are the commander of your senses, not their prisoner. This practice rewires your relationship with the modern world's constant promise of ease. You start to see comfort as a potential trap and manageable hardship as a gym for your will. The person who can willingly embrace a cold shower is training the same muscle needed to embrace a difficult conversation or a financial setback with steadiness. Musonius isn't asking you to live in a cave, but to prevent the cave of fear from living in you. By regularly practicing this, you drain the power from future inconveniences. A delayed flight becomes a chance to practice patience, not a ruinous event. A power outage becomes an adventure in simplicity, not a crisis. You become antifragile, gaining strength from the very things meant to disturb you. This is the essence of building an inner citadel. Its walls are made of the small hardships you have willingly faced and mastered, proving your own capability to yourself. Musonius Rufus brings our Stoic journey firmly into the realm of the physical and practical. He is the bridge between thinking rightly and living rightly. His legacy screams that philosophy is a manual for action, and virtue is a set of calluses earned through deliberate practice. In a culture obsessed with optimizing for pleasure, he is a radical voice for optimizing for strength. Your weekly discomfort challenge is your apprenticeship under this great teacher. It is the tangible proof that you are serious about transformation, not just consumption of ideas. With this foundation of action, we now turn to one of the most powerful voices in all of Stoicism, a man who began his life in the ultimate state of external helplessness. Chapter 5. Epictetus from Slave to Sovereign. Envision a man born into the brutal reality of slavery, with a body broken by a cruel master, who achieved a level of inner freedom so profound that emperors sought his advice. This is Epictetus, the Stoic whose life is the ultimate testament to the philosophy's promise. Your mind can be free even if your body is not. He taught in a simple chair to students of all ranks that the source of all human suffering is our own faulty judgments, not the events themselves. His famous opening line, "Some things are up to us and some things are not," echoes Zeno, but with the fierce clarity forged in the fires of personal suffering. Epictetus doesn't just teach philosophy, he offers a surgery for the soul, a method to cut away the diseased beliefs that enslave us to anger, fear, and dependency. He is the voice that asks, "You want to be free? Then stop handing the keys to your happiness to everyone and everything outside you." Epictetus's master tool is what we can call the judgment filter. He taught that between any event and our emotional reaction, there is a critical space, a split second where we attach a judgment. We don't get upset by the rain. We get upset by our judgment that the rain is bad for our plans. We aren't hurt by criticism. We are hurt by our judgment that the criticism is true and damaging. Your power lies in that space. Your chief task in life, according to Epictetus, is to guard and examine these automatic judgments. Is this event truly evil, or is it merely inconvenient? Is this person harming me, or am I harming myself by my opinion of them? By installing this filter, you become the gatekeeper of your own peace. You realize you have been consenting to your own upsets by agreeing with every initial, untested thought that pops into your head. Freedom is the disciplined practice of withholding that consent. Your transformation challenge is to become a detective of your own judgments for one full day. Carry your notebook again. When you feel a negative emotion, frustration, hurt, anxiety, stop. Before you react, ask Epictetus's two questions. First, what is the raw event separate from my story about it? E.g., my coworker interrupted me, not he disrespects me. Write that down. Second, what is my automatic judgment about this? E.g., this is disrespectful and threatens my standing. Write that down too. Then challenge that judgment. Is it 100% true? Is there another way to see it? Could his interruption be haste, not disrespect? This exercise is exhausting and illuminating. It reveals the dramatic, often unfounded, narratives you create that cause your own suffering. By the end of the day, you will see you are not a victim of events, but a co-author of your emotional experience through the judgments you choose to endorse. This practice is the core of cognitive freedom. Epictetus, who had so little control over his early life, mastered the one thing he did control, his faculty of choice. He teaches us that no one can enslave your mind without your permission. When you practice the judgment filter, you are revoking that permission. You start to see that people and events are like the weather. They behave according to their nature. Getting angry at a rainy cloud is pointless. So is getting angry at a rude person for being rude. Your job is simply to put on your coat or set your boundary and move on without internal storm. This is not passivity. It is immense power. It means you can engage with a difficult person strategically, without the draining inner turmoil of taking it personally. You can face failure as feedback, not as a verdict on your worth. You are learning to keep your inner citadel secure, no matter what missiles are launched at its walls. Epictetus provides perhaps the most immediately useful and liberating tool in our Stoic toolkit. His philosophy is a declaration of independence for the modern mind, perpetually bombarded by triggers designed to hijack our judgments. He is the ultimate coach for emotional resilience, teaching us that we are not responsible for the first thought that flies into our head, but we are entirely responsible for the second thought and the first action. With his filter, you can navigate social media, difficult news, and personal conflicts with a new detachment and clarity. You become sovereign of your own inner kingdom. Now, having learned to guard our judgments from the voice of a former slave, we turn to hear from the one man who ruled the known world, yet wrote most passionately about ruling himself. Chapter 6. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor's Battlefield Journal. Picture the most powerful man on earth, commander of vast legions, ruler of the Roman Empire at its height, sitting alone in his tent at night. By flickering lamplight, he is not plotting conquests but writing stern, tender reminders to himself in a private journal. This journal, now known as Meditations, is the intimate struggle of Marcus Aurelius to remain good, calm, and just amidst the extreme pressures of power, war, plague, and betrayal. He was the philosopher king, living the Stoic ideal that leadership is service and that true strength is moral integrity. His writings are not for publication but a personal gym for his character, filled with questions and commands. Why are you worrying? Get up and do your duty. Accept what you cannot change. He shows us that no one, not even an emperor, is exempt from the daily battle against pettiness, anger, and distraction. Marcus is the mentor who proves that the highest station in life demands the deepest inner work. Marcus gives us two profound mental exercises to gain perspective and align our actions. The first is the morning intentions. He began his days by mentally preparing for the challenges ahead, visualizing the people he would meet, the annoying, the ungrateful, the obstructive, and resolving to meet them with kindness and understanding, not anger. He reminded himself that others act from their own ignorance and pain, and his job was to be a force of reason, not to mirror their dysfunction. The second is the view from above. When overwhelmed by a petty concern or ego-driven worry, he would zoom out in his mind. He would envision the earth from space, a tiny speck, and his own life as a brief flicker on it. From this cosmic perspective, our quarrels, desires, and anxieties seem as small as they truly are. This practice shrinks problems to their proper size and connects you to the vast, orderly nature of the universe, instilling a profound sense of calm and duty. Your challenge is to practice both of Marcus's tools for 1 week. Each morning before checking your phone, take 3 minutes. Close your eyes and name the day's likely challenges: a busy commute, a tight deadline, a difficult person. For each, set an intention. I will meet the traffic with patience. I will focus on the task, not the stress. I will see their rudeness as their problem, not mine. Write these intentions down in a phrase. Then, at least once during the day, when you feel stress building, practice the view from above. Pause, close your eyes if possible, and imagine rising out of the situation, seeing your building from above, your city, your country, the blue planet in the black void. Hold that image for 30 seconds. Feel the pettiness of your worry against the scale of the cosmos. Then, return to your task, carrying that expanded perspective with you. This combo grounds you in purpose and lifts you above triviality. These practices are antidotes to the two great poisons of modern life: reactivity and self-importance. The morning intentions make you proactive with your character, turning you from a cork bobbing on the waves of the day into the captain steering your ship. The view from above is the ultimate anxiety reliever, reminding you that in the grand scheme, very little of what we panic about truly matters. Marcus used these tools to govern an empire without losing his humanity. You can use them to govern your day without losing your peace. They teach you that your sphere of influence, whether an empire or a household, is your sacred duty to manage with virtue. By starting your day with intention, you seize the initiative. By zooming out when stressed, you regain clarity. You are learning to live as both a humble part of a vast whole and a principled leader of your own small domain. Marcus Aurelius embodies the pinnacle of applied Stoicism, wisdom in action at the highest level of responsibility. His Meditations is a gift because it is not a polished lecture but a raw, repetitive, beautiful struggle. It shows us that even the best of us need constant reminding. His life teaches that the busier and more powerful you are, the more you need these quiet moments of philosophical grounding. With Marcus as your guide, you carry the dignity of an emperor and the humility of a citizen of the universe. Now, having sat in the tent of the philosopher king, we expand our counsel to include Stoics who may be less famous but whose lives shine just as brightly with the power of principle. Chapter 7. Cato the Younger, the Unbreakable Man. Imagine a politician so famous for his integrity that his very presence in the Roman Senate made corrupt colleagues squirm. Cato the Younger was a living monument to Stoic virtue, a man whose commitment to principle was absolute, even when it cost him politically and personally. He opposed the populist rise of Julius Caesar not out of petty rivalry, but from a genuine belief that Caesar's ambition would destroy the Republic's freedoms. Cato's power was not in his eloquence or his armies, but in the sheer, unassailable force of his character. He showed up to debates prepared, lived simply despite his wealth, and was famously unmoved by bribes or threats. His life poses a challenging question to us. In a world of compromise and gray areas, where do you draw your unbreakable line? Cato teaches that true strength is not in winning, but in refusing to bend your core values, even when you stand alone. Cato's master lesson is the practice of integrity as armor. He understood that when your internal compass is fixed firmly on virtue, external pressures, flattery, criticism, social exclusion, even threats, lose their power to sway you. This isn't about being rigid or self-righteous. It's about the profound confidence that comes from knowing your actions align perfectly with your beliefs. For Cato, this meant speaking truth when lies were convenient, advocating for justice when it was unpopular, and facing defeat with the same steadiness as victory. His integrity was his protection. It simplified every decision. He didn't have to calculate political angles. He simply asked, "Is this right?" This inner alignment freed him from the anxiety of trying to please everyone and the shame of knowing he had compromised. In a world that often rewards flexibility of principle, Cato's life argues that inflexible integrity is the ultimate source of personal freedom and respect. Your challenge is to conduct a weekly integrity checkpoint. Set a time each Sunday evening. Review your past week not by what you accomplished, but by how you lived your values. Ask yourself 3 direct questions. First, Did I tell any unnecessary lies, big or small, to avoid discomfort or look better? Second, did I go along with something I knew was wrong because it was easier than speaking up? Third, was there a moment where I chose the convenient path over the right path? Be brutally honest but not self-lashing. The goal is awareness, not guilt. Then for the coming week, choose one small situation where you will consciously practice integrity. It could be admitting a mistake at work, giving honest feedback kindly, or refusing to gossip. Plan for it. By making these small, conscious choices, you are training the muscle of integrity. You are building your own internal Kato who will speak up when the bigger tests come. This practice builds what psychologists call self-concept clarity. The clearer you are about who you are and what you stand for, the less life can knock you off course. Cato's enemies could take his property, his political office, even his life, but they could not make him act against his nature. That is the freedom we are building. Your integrity checkpoint is how you ensure your life is not drifting away from your professed values. It's easy to say you value honesty, but do your daily actions reflect it? This regular audit closes the gap between your ideal self and your real self. Each time you choose the right thing over the easy thing, you send a powerful message to your subconscious. I am a person of my word. I can be trusted, especially by myself. This self-trust becomes the foundation for all courage and resilience. You start to carry yourself differently, with a quiet authority that comes from inner unity. Cato's story ends in tragic defiance, choosing suicide over living under a dictator's rule, a final, extreme act of his own freedom. We are not called to his literal fate, but we are called to his spirit of unwavering commitment. He expands our Stoic counsel by showing that philosophy must walk into the messy arena of public and professional life. In your own world, your republic might be your family, your team at work, or your local community. Being its Cato means being the one who models fairness, speaks with honesty, and holds the line on important principles. With this lesson in unbreakable character, we now turn to a figure who shows us how to find peace when the world forcefully removes everything we think we need. Chapter 8, Gaius Rubellius Plautus, the Stoic in Exile. Picture a man living a life of noble privilege, a distant relative of the emperor, who is suddenly ordered to leave Rome forever based on nothing but paranoid suspicion. This was the fate of Gaius Rubellius Plautus, sent into exile by Nero. Stripped of his status, his home, and his community, he faced the ultimate test of Stoic equanimity. His response was not rage or despair, but a quiet, dignified focus on what remained within his control. In exile, he deepened his philosophical studies, tended to his family, and lived simply among new people. Plautus embodies the Stoic art of graceful resistance, the strength to accept a terrible external circumstance without letting it corrupt your inner world. He teaches us that when life forcibly simplifies itself, either through loss, illness, or major change, our job is not to curse the darkness, but to tend the light we still carry within. He is the mentor for when your plans are shattered and you must build a meaningful life from the ruins. Plautus's core idea is the cultivation of an inner refuge. He understood that when the external world becomes hostile or is taken away, we must have a fortified inner space to retreat to, a sanctuary built from our values, our reason, and our capacity to find meaning in any situation. This refuge is not a place of escapism, but of renewal and perspective. It's the mental room where you remember who you are beyond your titles, possessions, or location. For Plautus in exile, this refuge was his philosophy, his duty to his household, and his connection to nature. He couldn't control the emperor's decree, but he could control how he spent his days, the quality of his thoughts, and the dignity of his bearing. This practice ensures you are never truly homeless, because your true home is portable. It resides in your character and your mind. It is the ultimate security in an insecure world. Your transformation challenge is to build and visit your own inner refuge through a daily visualization practice. Find 5 quiet minutes each day. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. In your mind's eye, construct a place that represents perfect peace and strength to you. It could be a real memory, a grandparent's kitchen, a quiet beach at dawn, or an imagined space, a sturdy cabin in the woods, a sunlit library. Furnish it with details that calm you. Now imagine placing within this space the symbols of what you truly control: a lamp for your wisdom, a shield for your integrity, a compass for your purpose. Spend time there each day. This is not daydreaming, it is neural training. You are wiring your brain to associate calm and strength with an internal trigger you can access anytime. Then, during a moment of stress in your day, take 3 breaths and recall your refuge. Feel its stability. This practice builds the psychological flexibility to be in a difficult situation without being of it. This skill is a lifeline in times of both minor stress and major crisis. The stressful commute, the toxic workplace, the period of grief or uncertainty, these are all forms of exile from our desired peace. Your inner refuge is the place you go to remember that your reaction is still yours to choose. It is where you reconnect with your core identity, separate from the chaos around you. Plautus shows us that exile, literal or metaphorical, can be not just an end, but a beginning, a chance to discover resources within yourself that a life of ease never reveals. By practicing this visualization, you are doing the pre-work for resilience. You are ensuring that no external event can ever fully strip you of your peace because you have cultivated a garden within that no one can trample. You become like a tree with deep roots. The winds may blow fiercely, but they cannot uproot you. Gaius Rubelius Plautus completes our understanding of the Stoic response to injustice and loss. While Cato represents defiant opposition, Plautus represents serene endurance. Both are valid forms of strength. Plautus expands our toolkit by providing a method for psychological survival when fighting back is impossible or unwise. His story whispers that sometimes the most powerful act is to endure with grace, to refuse to let a tyrant, whether a person or a circumstance, dictate your inner weather. With this sanctuary now under construction within you, we welcome a Stoic who proves that this profound strength is not reserved for men alone, and that the heart's courage is a formidable force. Chapter 9. Portia Catanis, the Stoic Heart. Envision the daughter of the unyielding Cato, a woman raised in the heart of Roman Stoicism, who demonstrated that its principles were not cold logic but the foundation of immense emotional courage. Portia Catanis is famous for a single, stunning act. Upon learning of a dangerous plot her husband Brutus was involved in, and feeling he distrusted her fortitude, she deliberately stabbed herself in the thigh. She endured the pain without a cry, then confronted him, saying, "I am not just a partner in your bed and board, but in your perils." This brutal proof was her way of saying, "My love is strong enough to share your burden and your danger." Portia shatters the myth that Stoicism is about being unfeeling. Instead, she shows it is about feeling deeply yet being disciplined enough to channel those feelings into loyal, principled action. She is the mentor for loving bravely, for finding strength in vulnerability, and for proving that courage has no gender. Portia's master lesson is courageous connection. She teaches that Stoic virtue applied to relationships means showing up with both deep love and unwavering strength. It means being a source of stability, not drama. It means having difficult conversations from a place of care, not avoidance or anger. For Portia, love was not a fragile emotion to be protected, but a powerful bond to be proven through shared trials. Her Stoicism allowed her to transcend the traditional, passive role of a Roman wife and become an active, trusted confidant in a world-shaking conspiracy. She demonstrates that the inner citadel is not a lonely fortress, but can have a gate through which you welcome others, trusting your own strength enough to be open. This is the balance: to care profoundly without being controlled by that care, to be loyal without losing your own moral compass. It's the art of being a rock for others, because you are unshakable within yourself. Your challenge is to engage in one courageous conversation this week, using a Stoic framework. Identify a relationship where something small but important has been left unsaid, a mild resentment and appreciation, a needed boundary. Before the talk, prepare like a Stoic. First, clarify your intention. Is it to blame or to understand, to win or to connect? Set it to understand and connect. Second, premeditate. Visualize the other person reacting poorly. Plan to meet that with calm, not escalation. Third, use the judgment filter. Separate their action from your story about it. During the conversation, speak for yourself using "I feel" statements, not "you always" accusations. Listen actively. If emotions rise, pause and breathe. The goal is not a specific outcome, but the practice of expressing care with courage and principle. This is how you build relationships that are both warm and strong, rooted in honesty rather than pretense. This practice transforms relationships from sources of anxiety into sources of strength. Portia's example asks us, are our closest bonds based on comfort and convenience, or on mutual respect and shared virtue? Applying Stoicism here means we don't use philosophy as an excuse to be distant, but as a tool to be more present and reliable. It teaches us to manage our own emotional storms so we can be a safe harbor for others. By initiating a courageous conversation, you are practicing vulnerability within the safe structure of principle. You are proving that you can handle conflict without crumbling, and that you value the relationship enough to risk temporary discomfort for deeper honesty. This builds profound trust. Others sense your solidity. You become the person people turn to in crisis because they know you won't panic. You love not from need but from abundance. Toughness brings an essential, humanizing dimension to our Stoic counsel. She reminds us that the ultimate test of our philosophy is not in solitary meditation, but in how we treat the people we love and the causes we serve. Her courage was emotional, relational, and physical. She expands the Stoic ideal to include the fierce protection of loved ones and the willing sharing of their burdens. With her lesson, we understand that an unshakable heart is also a compassionate one. Now, we turn to a Stoic who took this connection beyond family and city, seeing himself as a citizen of the entire world. Chapter 10. Apollonius of Tyana, the Wandering Sage. Imagine a philosopher who spent his life traveling, from the deserts of Mesopotamia to the courts of India, seeking wisdom in every culture, and teaching that true understanding has no borders. Apollonius of Tyana was a Stoic-inspired sage and a global citizen centuries before the term existed. He believed in a universal, divine reason present in all people and lived with radical self-reliance, often possessing nothing but the cloak on his back. Apollonius teaches us that wisdom is not owned by any one school or tradition, and that resilience comes from feeling at home wherever you are. Because your home is within. In an age of rigid identities and partisan thinking, he is a breath of fresh air, a mentor who urges us to be curious, adaptable, and to find the common threads of truth that connect all humanity. He is the guide for when you feel like an outsider, reminding you that the whole world is your potential classroom. Apollonius's transformative idea is the beginner's mind. This is the conscious practice of shedding your preconceptions and expertise to encounter every new person, place, and problem with fresh eyes and open curiosity. It is the opposite of judgmental thinking. It is inquisitive thinking. For Apollonius, this meant truly listening to Indian gymnosophists or Babylonian priests, not to debate them, but to learn what truths they might hold. Applied to our lives, it means approaching a frustrating coworker not with the label difficult, but with the question, what is their perspective? It means seeing a personal failure not as a verdict, but as a data point for growth. This mindset combats rigidity and dogmatism, the enemies of wisdom. It makes you adaptable, resilient in the face of change, and perpetually learning. It is the practice of being a wise guest in the universe, not its arrogant master. Your challenge is to embark on a beginner's mind adventure this week. Choose one routine aspect of your life, your commute, your lunch, a weekly meeting, and decide to experience it as if for the very first time. If it's your commute, pretend you are a tourist. Notice architecture you usually ignore. Wonder about the lives of people in passing cars. If it's a meal, eat it with full attention, noting textures and flavors as if you'd never tasted them before. If it's a meeting, Listen to each person as if you know nothing about them, hearing their words without your internal commentary. Take notes on what you discover. Secondly, seek out one piece of wisdom from a philosophy, culture, or discipline completely foreign to you. Watch a documentary on Buddhism, read a poem from a different century, or talk to someone from a different generation with genuine curiosity. The goal is to stretch your mind beyond its familiar grooves. This practice is a direct attack on boredom, irritation, and closed-mindedness, the states that make us fragile and reactive. By cultivating a beginner's mind, you inject wonder and novelty into the mundane, which is a powerful form of mental resilience. You train your brain to see change and the unknown not as threats, but as opportunities for discovery. Apollonius lived with boundless curiosity, which made him endlessly resourceful and free from provincial fears. When you practice this, you are building the same adaptability. You become someone who can thrive in new environments, connect with diverse people, and learn from any situation. You stop seeing yourself as a fixed entity and start seeing yourself as a perpetual student of life. This is the ultimate freedom, to not be imprisoned by your own past conclusions and prejudices. Apollonius of Tyana completes our historical counsel by expanding our vision to the horizon. He embodies the Stoic concept of being a citizen of the world, cosmopolitan. His life argues that the final stage of inner fortitude is not isolation, but confident, curious engagement with the vast, varied human experience. With him, our Stoic training becomes a passport to a life of endless learning and connection. Now, having gathered wisdom from these 10 distinct voices across centuries, we are ready to see how their torch has been carried, secretly and powerfully, into our modern age. Chapter 11. The Stoic Undercurrent, How Their Ideas Never Died. Imagine a river flowing underground for centuries, its waters silently nourishing the roots of forests above. Stoicism has been that hidden river, its principles surfacing in powerful ways long after Rome fell. It shaped the serenity prayer of modern therapy, the mental toughness of elite athletes, and the decisive leadership of generals and CEOs. This chapter reveals that you have likely been using Stoic ideas without even knowing it. When a coach says, "Control the controllables," that's pure Stoicism. When a therapist teaches you to challenge catastrophic thoughts, that's the judgment filter of Epictetus. This invisible thread connects Marcus Aurelius to a modern soldier preparing for deployment, and Seneca to an executive managing stress. Understanding this lineage does two things. It validates these tools as timelessly effective, and it connects you to a vast, unseen community of practitioners. You are not adopting a weird ancient cult. You are plugging into the most robust operating system for human resilience ever devised. The rebirth of Stoicism in our time is no accident. Our world of information overload, uncertainty, and performance pressure is eerily similar to the chaotic, status-obsessed world of imperial Rome. The same tools that helped a senator keep his head are helping us keep our sanity. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, the gold standard for treating anxiety and depression, was directly inspired by the Stoic idea that our thoughts shape our emotions. The premeditation of adversity is now called stress inoculation in sports psychology. The evening audit is a cornerstone of reflective leadership practice. This chapter shows you that you are not alone on this path. You are joining a tradition that has been tested in prisons, on battlefields, in boardrooms, and in therapist offices. This knowledge is empowering. It means the philosophy you are learning is not theoretical, but battle-hardened across 2 millennia. It means the transformations you seek are absolutely possible, because millions have walked this path before you. Let this understanding fuel your commitment. When you practice your morning intentions, you are in the company of Navy SEALs visualizing a mission. When you do your evening audit, you are alongside the greatest leaders who debrief their days. This connectedness destroys the feeling that personal development is a selfish or solitary pursuit. It is, in fact, how you become a more effective, calm, and contributive member of your own community. The Stoic undercurrent has been sustaining the wise and the resilient for ages, Now you are consciously diving into its waters. You are switching from being unconsciously influenced by these ideas to consciously directing them. This is the upgrade. You are moving from being a passenger on the river of wisdom to being its skilled navigator. With this modern context firmly in place, we now turn to a 20th century man whose story provides the most harrowing and convincing proof of Stoicism's power you will ever encounter. Chapter 12. James Stockdale, the Prisoner of War's Survival Manual. Picture a fighter pilot shot down over Vietnam, breaking his back upon ejection, who then spends 7.5 years in the infamous H-1ECF, a low Hanoi Hilton prison. This was James Stockdale, a man who entered captivity with a vague memory of Epictetus from a philosophy class and proceeded to use it as a literal survival manual. He was tortured over 20 times, held in solitary confinement, and given no release date. In that hell, Stockdale realized Epictetus was right. His captors could control his body, but they could never control his mind, his character, or his inner freedom. He organized the American prisoners into a Stoic resistance, using tap codes to teach the dichotomy of control. Those who understood it best survived with their integrity intact. Those who clung to optimistic release dates often broke. Stockdale's experience gives us the Stockdale paradox. You must retain unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the same time, have the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality. Stockdale's lesson is the ultimate stress test for everything we have learned. It proves that Stoicism is not philosophy for a comfortable life. It is a toolkit for enduring the unendurable. His core practice was radical acceptance coupled with moral action. He accepted the brutal facts of his imprisonment, the pain, the isolation, the uncertainty, without false hope or delusion. But within that acceptance, he fiercely controlled what he could: his defiance, his communication with fellow prisoners, his commitment to the U.S. Code of Conduct. He could not stop the torture, but he could choose what information he gave. He could not gain freedom, but he could protect his men. This is Stoicism stripped bare. Find the 1 inch of ground you can hold and hold it with your life. Stockdale's story removes any doubt about whether these principles work. They don't just work for minor irritations, they work in the abyss. If they can work there, they can work for you in your challenges. Your challenge is to apply the Stockdale paradox to one ongoing, difficult situation in your own life, a tough project, a health journey, a strained relationship. First, confront the brutal facts. Write down the reality of the situation with clear-eyed honesty, without sugarcoating or catastrophizing. What are the real obstacles? What is truly outside your control? Second, from that place of acceptance, declare your unwavering faith. Not faith in a specific desired outcome, e.g., I will get the promotion, but faith in your ability to endure, learn, and uphold your values no matter what happens. Write this faith statement: I have faith that I will navigate this with courage and integrity. Third, identify your 1 inch of ground. What is the one small, meaningful thing within your control that you can focus on right now? It could be your preparation, your attitude today, or a single act of kindness. This practice builds the resilient mindset that can face anything without breaking. This exercise trains you to avoid the twin traps of despair and naive optimism. Despair says, it's all hopeless, so I give up. Naive optimism says, it will all work out by next Tuesday, and then crumbles when it doesn't. The Stockdale paradox is the sturdy middle path. This is really hard, and it might stay hard for a while, but I am harder. I will do what I can right now. This mindset is what allows people to survive bankruptcies, overcome addiction, and thrive after loss. Stockdale's life is the ultimate testimony that our philosophy is not an intellectual hobby. It is armor for the soul. By practicing his paradox, you are preparing your mind for life's inevitable hardships, not with fear, but with a grounded, unbreakable confidence in your own capacity to endure. You are building the kind of character that does not just survive storms, but is forged by them. James Stockdale brings our historical journey into the vivid, terrible, and inspiring present. He is the living proof that the words of a former slave, written 2,000 years ago, can save a modern man's life and sanity. His story elevates our practice from self-improvement to soul craft. With this supreme test of Stoicism witnessed, we now pivot fully to you. The final part of this book is about synthesis, about weaving these 10 voices into the fabric of your daily life, designing a sustainable practice, and living your Stoic legacy. Chapter 13. Design Your Day, the Stoic Morning and Evening Ritual. Imagine starting every day with clarity and purpose, and ending every night with peace and learning, regardless of what chaos unfolded in between. This chapter is your blueprint to design that reality. We will synthesize the lessons from our 10 mentors into a simple, sustainable daily framework, not a rigid checklist, but a flexible ritual you can adapt. The goal is to bookend your day with intention and reflection, creating a container of Stoic practice that holds your life. This ritual is your daily maintenance for the inner citadel you've been building. It ensures you don't just learn these ideas but live them, turning philosophy from something you think about into the way you operate. Think of it as your daily mental hygiene, as essential as brushing your teeth, but for your character and peace of mind. Your Stoic morning ritual is a proactive launch. It combines Marcus's intentions, Cleanth's discipline, and Epictetus's preparedness. Upon waking, before reaching for your phone, take 5 minutes. First, breathe and be present. Second, remember your mortality, not to be morbid but to cherish the gift of this day. Third, visualize the day's challenges and set your intentions for how you will meet them with virtue. Fourth, remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. Today, you will focus your energy only on your inner circle. This ritual sets your mental trajectory, making you the initiator of your day rather than the reactor to its first email or demand. It installs the operating system before the apps start running. Your Stoic evening ritual is a reflective landing. It blends Seneca's audit, Musonius's review, and Portia's connection. Before sleep, take 5 minutes. First, breathe and let the day go. Second, review the day with kindness and honesty. Where did you act well? Where did you fall short? What did you learn? Third, practice gratitude for one specific thing, even a small lesson from a difficulty. Fourth, release what is outside your control, tomorrow's outcomes, others' opinions. This practice closes the loop, allows you to sleep without unresolved anxiety, and turns every day into a stepping stone of growth. It's how you compost the day's events into wisdom. Start small to make this stick. For the first week, commit to just 2 minutes in the morning, breath plus 1 intention, and 2 minutes at night, 1 review question plus breath. Consistency is infinitely more important than duration. Use a notebook, a notes app, or even just mental contemplation. The key is to create the ritual space. As it becomes habit, you can deepen it, add a quote from your favorite Stoic, incorporate a moment of the view from above, or journal a bit longer. This daily framework is the engine of your transformation. It is the practical rhythm that turns occasional insight into enduring character. It ensures the 10 voices in this book don't fade but become a constant, gentle counsel in your ear, guiding your choices toward peace and strength. Chapter 14. Handle Anything, the Stoic Response Toolkit. Life will test you. This chapter prepares you for the most common tests by providing a go-to mental toolkit synthesized from all our teachers. These are your reflexive responses for when you're triggered, so you don't have to think, you just execute. For crisis or bad news, follow the Stoic sequence. 1. Pause and breathe. 2. Accept the brutal fact. 3. Ask, what in this is within my control right now? 4. Take that one small, purposeful action. This prevents panic and channels energy into solution. For criticism or insult, use the Epictetus shield. Remember, it's just noise. Ask, is this true? If so, can I learn from it? If not, why does their opinion matter? Your worth isn't decided by others. For overwhelm, apply the Marcus zoom out, practice the view from above. See the vastness of time and space. Ask, will this matter in a month, a year? This shrinks the problem to its true size and restores calm perspective. For anger, deploy the Seneca pause. Feel the heat rise but do not act. Remember, anger is a temporary madness. Ask, what is the just and constructive response here? Let your action be chosen, not reactive. For anxiety about the future, use the Zeno circle, draw the mental circles, categorize your worries. Place each firmly in my control or not my control. Release your grip on the outer circle. Focus your effort only on the inner. For feeling of lack or envy, invoke the Musonius mindset. Practice voluntary gratitude for what you have. Remember that wanting more is a trap. True wealth is needing little. Do a digital detox or simplify one thing. For moral temptation, summon the Cato check. Hear his voice. Is this the right thing? Will this action align with the person I am becoming? Let your integrity be the non-negotiable standard. Print this list, put it on your fridge or in your phone. The goal is to drill these responses until they become automatic. When a trigger hits, you won't default to old, fragile patterns. You'll default to these Stoic protocols. This chapter is your emergency manual and your everyday playbook combined. It is the culmination of your training, the moment the philosophy becomes reflex. You are building a new set of instincts, ones wired for resilience rather than reactivity. With this toolkit in hand, you are now equipped to handle the vast majority of what life throws at you with a steadiness that will amaze both you and those around you. Chapter 15. Your Virtuous Legacy, Living a Life That Matters. This final chapter asks the biggest question: what is all this inner work for? Stoicism is not a self-help technique to make you impervious. It is a philosophy to help you live a good, contributive, and meaningful life. Your transformation was never just about you. It's about becoming a source of stability, reason, and kindness in a world that needs it. This is about your legacy, not one of fame or wealth, but of positive influence on the people and projects you touch. How does a Stoic show up at work? As the most principled, focused, and collaborative teammate. How does a Stoic engage in relationships? As the most loyal, honest, and supportive partner or friend. How does a Stoic serve their community? With a sense of duty, using their calm and reason to help solve problems. Your inner citadel has a gate, and from it, you can now venture out to make a real difference because you are no longer easily knocked over. Your final, culminating transformation is to craft your personal Stoic creed. This is a short, powerful statement that encapsulates the core principles you choose to live by, inspired by your 10 mentors. It is your North Star. To write it, reflect on the lessons that resonated most. Was it Epictetus on freedom, Marcus on duty, Portia on courageous love, Seneca on time? Synthesize them into 3-5 lines in your own words. For example, I will focus only on what I can control, my actions, my judgments, and my character. I will meet difficulty with courage, others with kindness, and my time with purpose. I will live according to nature with virtue as my only true goal. Write this creed. Put it where you will see it daily. Let it be the final synthesis of your journey, the compact guide for the rest of your life. This is your philosophy made personal. This creed is your anchor and your compass. When you feel lost, reread it. When you face a dilemma, consult it. It is the voice of your 10 mentors distilled into your own. By creating it, you transition from being a student of Stoicism to being a living practitioner of your own virtuous philosophy. This is the ultimate goal, not to memorize quotes, but to become a quote-worthy person through your actions. Your legacy will be the calm you bring to chaos, the wisdom you offer in confusion, and the strength you model for others. You are now a link in the great chain of Stoic practice, receiving wisdom from the past and embodying it for the future. Your journey of transformation has equipped you to live a life not of passive peace, but of active goodness. Conclusion: the unshakable you. Look back at the path you have walked, from Zeno's shipwreck to Stockdale's prison cell. You have met 10 extraordinary teachers, each offering a unique piece of the puzzle for building an unshakable life. You have learned that transformation is not a single event, but the daily practice of focusing on what you control, challenging your judgments, meeting hardship with preparation, and aligning your actions with your values. You are not the same person who started this book. You have new tools, new reflexes, and a new council of inner mentors to guide you. The inner citadel is no longer a metaphor. Its foundations are laid within you, built by the conscious choices you have begun to make. Carry this confidence forward. The world's chaos has not changed, but your capacity to navigate it with grace and strength has been fundamentally upgraded. You now possess an ancient operating system for modern resilience. This is not an end, but a magnificent beginning. The Stoic journey is lifelong, a practice that deepens with every challenge you meet with its principles. There will be days you forget, moments you react poorly. This is human. The practice is to return again and again to the wisdom you now hold. Revisit your mentors, refresh your rituals, and reaffirm your creed. You have joined a timeless community of those who choose reason over rage, purpose over pleasure, and virtue over vanity. Go live your life, not as a victim of circumstance, but as its purposeful author. Build, contribute, love, and strive with a steady heart. You are now and forever more resilient than you know. The unshakable you has arrived. Welcome to the good life.